Salute, salute, what's cracking, people? It's your baby mama's favorite cousin T-Taw. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another fantastic conversation. And before we really get started, I want to first shout out those who are here early. Salute to everybody. We're, of course, anticipating our guest. But what I really want to do is set the scene and obviously paint the picture, so to speak, regarding this evening's discussion. First of all, salute to you, Kenneth Young. Greetings from the DMV. How you feeling? Luther, salute, gentlemen, always. Salute to you. Was good, Michael. Salute to the masters. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tristan, fitness. Salute to the masters. Was cracking. Was cracking. Of course. Absolutely. Salute. Salute to you, Field General Rom Wells. And so as we gather those who are coming to the stream into the chat, I really want to give an overall sense of what tonight's discussion is going to entail. Now, I selected the title, Submission is Feminine Chivalry, based on a few factors. And those factors include research, observation, and of course, conversations not only with consulting clients, but with women, believe it or not. And so, of course, in this space, in this place, in this thing that we call the internet, we do research. We take our practice of this thing that we call game very, very seriously. And the quality of our work speaks for itself in terms of the outcomes that our associations, our mentorships, and the feedback that we receive from our coaching clients prove out. And so, in order to set this table, we have to understand a couple of definitions. Now, when I say or use the word submission, it's not some term that's thrown around to, supplicate women or to put them beneath men socially or to browbeat. Basically, when I use the term submission, and obviously we'll get other perspectives and in terms of how they use and actually practice the use of the word submission going forward. But when I say submission, I am really talking about relative cooperation. Relative cooperation. And obviously, when we have these discussions in these spaces, we're talking about in the domain primarily of man gets woman and in the relationship space. Now, what I'm going to attempt, okay, bear with me. I need your support. All right. I definitely need your support. What I am going to attempt is to present a snippet of a broader conversation that I'm having over on the Patreon side. Now, for those who are subscribed to my Patreon, especially the higher levels, you know that we go in. We obviously bring references, we bring resources, but most importantly, I like to use graphics. All right. Shout out to Ron Wills. Once again, he knows that I'm notorious for presenting slide presentations when I present for him and his private groups. And so, in order to sort of present to you my position on why submission, okay, is feminine chivalry, we'll do that once again tonight. So, we got the definition of submission from me. Now let's look at what feminine means, okay? And basically, very simply, I define feminine or femininity as the essence of that which is to be female. Okay? Very simple, nothing complex or anything like that. Okay? The essence of the expression of what it means to be female. And when we talk about chivalry, we have to understand very basically, it's a Victorian concept of deference shown from one holding power to one who has less power naturally. Okay. And so this is coming from a system that places men in the position to actually provide and protect beyond the relationship space. And it's the greater social landscape. Okay. And so chivalry was, let me use that past tense term. Chivalry was a code of conduct in which men conducted themselves in polite society, holding the door open for women, opening the carriage door, right, horse and carriage door, which ultimately led to the car, right, door for the woman. He would lay his top coat down on a puddle so a woman could step over it and not mess up her shoes or her dress as she's entering into a venue. But also in terms of polite society, showing a woman deference in public spaces, holding her hand, offering her, assistance in terms of social navigation. Now, put those concepts and those terms together. And we understand that chivalry comes from the one who has the most leverage in the social arena. Fast forward that concept to where we are today. And of course, we have a lot of changes and progressions that have happened in society to whereas women have been afforded a lot of what I refer to as social leverage points. And let me pull up this graphic in just a couple seconds. And while I do that, we got to shout out Joe Blast. What's up, Joe Blast? We appreciate your contributions. We appreciate you checking in once again with us and everybody else who is checking in. Remember, always you're welcome to contribute to the T-Talk Tabernacle that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And let me adjust here. Let me adjust this to show you this. All right. Now, here we are. Let's come back. All right. So here's a snippet of what I am presenting in greater detail over on the Patreon side. So basically, when I talk about social leverage points, obviously, you got the man here. Okay. You've got the man, you've got what I refer to as the social landscape that's in red, and you've got the fulcrum of the state. On the other side would be the example of if a man were to go up against a woman head to head, he would easily overpower her in the social arena and the political, the professional, the jobs arena, in the trades. We're just talking about hard skills, external, in terms of what people are driven to do. All right, we don't have to pull up the Scandinavian examples or anything like that. All right, this is how the state balanced the social landscape. All right. Of course, those who are familiar with my work can appreciate the bear representing the environment. So when men and women stood side by side, obviously the man is in front of the woman, protecting her or offering deference between the woman and the environment. And it was all balanced by the state. Okay. Fast forward, and a lot of programs and development placed a further hedge between men, women, and the environment. And so cities were able to develop, different institutions were able to be built. And so ultimately, what ended up happening with, a lot of revolutions. Okay, we can say eminism, right? Because of how the YouTube algorithm picks it up. We'll say eminism provided a space for women to explore society within this social landscape even more. And so what ended up happening is here. This is how we got here. So in order to avoid this imbalance, the state offered what I described these blue sort of triangles are as social leverage points. All right. And these social leverage points show up uh, in so many ways in terms of, sentencing laws, family courts, all of these other things that play in the favor of women. So why do we say these? Why am I saying all of this with this brief sort of presentation? In order for balance to be present, and what we that is the practitioners of this thing that we call game like to understand, is that when men and women are brought into our natural balance, replaced in our natural sort of positions in an uneven environment, in order for that balance to be returned, there needs to be a new code of social conduct. And that's why, gentlemen, it is essential that you have a philosophy. Once again, we understand that philosophy is your path to truth. Philosophy is a structure of principles and values that allow you to traverse your path of mastery. Our philosophy, very simply, is game, the philosophical curriculum of game. And so when we look at this and we factor in all that we've presented so far and all that you even know as citizens of whatever region that you may find yourself in, of a space that practices empowerment, okay, however that may look in your specific region, you have to factor in what your social landscape looks like when engaging with the type of woman that you desire to acquire an engagement with, an exchange of intimacy with, an exchange of experiences with. That being said, because we understand what the modern landscape looks like and how social leverage points are being abused by some women, let's just say some, all right. Now, like I said, there has to be a return of social codes. And that's why I say that submission is that return to social codification. And that's how this sort of new landscape can progress. Whereas historically, men showed deference to women, and we offered women, the way forward first. Now, because women have so much social leverage in the modern space, they have to show deference in terms of how they engage with men, and that is called submission. You see, since they have so much social leverage on their side, in order for them to come into a balance or return to a balance with men that they desire to acquire an engagement with, an exchange of intimacy with, even relationships with, women now have to show deference to men in order to come back to an understanding that if they want to achieve fulfillment, they now have to be the ones who align with the social code of conduct. Now, how does that work in a dating, mating, and relating space? And gentlemen, if you have any questions so far, if you want to put them down in chat, just start with the Q as per usual. Look at this. I like this. Johnny Retro says, "Cool. It hasn't started yet." Yes. Uh, have a seat, take some notes, because in this space where we practice that thing called game, we have an appreciation for how women show deference to us. You see? And I'm glad that you made this particular statement, because when you have a philosophy, you have to understand that operating by certain principles, establishing certain boundaries, and presenting a code of conduct and standing on that as a requirement for women to enjoy the value that you have. Well, first of all, you have to recognize your value. Let's be clear. Yeah, you have to recognize your value, establish those boundaries, present your value proposition, which women know. Women understand and appreciate what our value proposition is as men, our light, right? Then she will be overwhelmed, and she will enthusiastically present herself in a quote unquote submissive position so that she can be in submission. Shout out to Ron Wills, can be in submission to our mission. You see? And this is a good one. I like this, Tristan Fitness. A man must have a code of conduct. Look. A man must have a code. He says bunk. Now, when we talk about how this works, and this is why we have these conversations, so that we can explain this other side that the majority of people don't get to appreciate and or enjoy. The reason why we can say here in this neck of the woods that we love women. Well, first of all, that we love ourselves. Secondly, that we love the world that we built. All right. Third, we can say that we love women with confidence. We love women with confidence. Why? Because the women who seek to enter the worlds that we've built understand that comes with a code of conduct. You see? And once again, when we apply the philosophical curriculum of game, those codes of conduct are ever apparent, because we practice what we preach and we stand on what we practice. You see? Now, again, let's be clear. This is not to denigrate or step on the toes of those who speak of empowerment, who speak of relationship in the traditional sense. This is not to step on their toes. This is to express an alternative, express a progression, and how both sides have the opportunity to not only reconcile, but to progress the overall relationship. Now, let's be clear. Let's be clear. It's not easy. No one said it was going to be easy, because the first thing that a man has to do when he enlists to absorb and to practice this thing that we call game is that you have to do the internal work. You see, you have to go within and you have to uh, de sort of commission. You have to deprogram all of those external, ideologies and ideas and practices that have been imposed upon you for so many years through media, through pop culture, through the stories that you hear, and most importantly, through the very women that you seek to enjoy an intimate and experiential, sorry, exchange with. You see, but it all has to start with you. It must start with you, even if we're talking about dynamics that exist at the policy level in whatever region that you find yourself. Okay, and so when you opt to have consultations with a coach of this thing that we call game. Now, again, I'm a game coach by default, but my speciality is seduction. However, in order to even have this level of that thing that we call game, you must first understand the basics. That's why we have levels of that thing that we call game. You see, the elementary level. How do you interact, in a natural environment with yourself and the women that you desire to acquire? What's the natural sort of inclination? What do those drivers look like, right? At the intermediate level, we talk about relationships. How do those relationships dynamics shape up? And let's use the topic of discussion today as sort of the framework for discussing this level of game, the intermediate or the relationship level of game. What does that look like? What does female or feminine chivalry look like in the relationship space? Well, once again, let's go back to how a man presents his operation. And just briefly, a man's operation is how his world works. You see, what's his profession? What are his interests? What are his family commitments? What are his community commitments? You see, all of these things factor into his world, and they have to exist prior to bringing the type of woman that you desire to have a relationship with into that world. It has to be built first. Now, here's where that thing called game comes into play. In your world, you must establish principles and values. Okay. The number one value is that you love yourself. You value yourself and your masculine light, which is your wisdom, your experience, and that which feeds and informs others of your essence. That's your masculine light. You must value that above anything else. Because let me be honest, the world values your light above everything else. They just don't tell you. They just don't tell you how valuable your light is as a man. To have the type of man who has the knowledge and experience and applied knowledge and experience that we refer to as wisdom, moving and navigating and negotiating the social landscape is priceless. And then for a woman to come into that man's space and to experience his essence. What do I mean by his essence? To experience his stoic positioning, to experience his intelligent and strategic leadership, to experience, dare I say, the destination, which is something that I speak of all the time over on the Patreon side. But just briefly to give you an understanding of what the destination is. The destination is the North Star of your path of masculine mastery. Gentlemen, the destination is the locus or the point of purpose for your mission. The destination is where you center your life. And gentlemen, if you've ever been a part of a team, if you've ever played sports, if you've ever been in engineering, if you've ever been on a project with a group of competent people, but in particular, a group of competent men who all had the same goal, who were all moving in the same direction, and you had a capable, competent, experienced, no nonsense leader, you know what I'm talking about. The destination is clear because he's going to repeat it throughout the process. But the way that he inspires his team, the way that he reinforces the elements of the project, the way that he brings everyone involved into the importance of the project is so unique, it's so special, and it's so inspiring that everybody is happy to be a part of this thing. We know that the destination is there, but guess what? We show up every single day and we give everything that we can because this leader is so impressive that we would hate to disappoint him, let alone not make it to the destination. And let's be clear, gentlemen, in this thing called life, and especially in the mating, dating, and relating space, you are him. Let me say that again. In this space of modern mating, dating, and relating, as the man, as the practitioner of this thing that we call game, you are in the ultimate position to take yourself and those who submit to your mission to the ultimate destination. And the journey to that destination is what makes you him. And you see, stories are written about him. Myths are written about him. Word of mouth. Oh, you're working with so-and-so? Oh, man, you're in good hands. Oh, man, I remember this one time, man, everything looked like it wasn't, things were out of whack. We had no resources. And he did it. He brought us through. He was able to make it happen. Statues are erected in his honor. And let me tell you something. Even though the modern social landscape is leveraged, and actually some would say over leveraged, in favor of the feminine position or the female position, because there's a difference between just being female and being feminine. Understanding, identifying, adopting, integrating the philosophical curriculum of this thing that we call game is what will develop you, is what will prepare you, is what will build you up to become him, that leader. The only one that can bring your world and those within it to that thing that we call the destination. And this is only possible if you're him. Because what he does is beam his light, not only on his path, but he beams his light towards that destination. And he makes sure that those who are under his fostering, in his care and in keeping, are knowledgeable, are resource filled, are cared for, and above all, are submissive to the mission. Now, cousin, oh my gosh.
Go ask your cousin.
Cousin, I don't know, these modern women, they're all over the place. They're ornery, they're entitled, they're stuck up, they don't know nothing. They want to be on OF. They're constantly at rooftop parties. They on the dating apps. They're on Pop the Balloons, embarrassing men. Who wants to work with that? Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked.
Go ask your cousin.
Thank you for asking that. It's a wonderful question. You don't choose women who show themselves unworthy of your path and your destination. Because let's be clear, what we see on display on social media, what we see in this modern dating, mating, and relating landscape that's projected or presented is a very small percentage of the big picture. And one thing that your masculine light affords you the ability to do is not only not be anxious and anticipate and reactive to anything that's thrown in your face. It allows you to step back and absorb and observe the scene as it is. And once you step back and look at the entirety of the scene, you start to see exceptions. And then those exceptions are tied to other exceptions. And so once the availability of these exceptions come together, you recognize, damn, I was not ever existing in an environment of scarcity. With this lens of this thing that we call game, I have always existed in abundance. And now you get to choose. And now you understand what the prize truly is. The prize is a relationship with you. And that's the perfect segue. Gentlemen, let's understand that we need to give a round of applause and appreciation of the arrival of the man, the myth, the legend, none other than the legendary Pimp God. Salute to you.
Salute to y'all.
Get that ASP Holy Ghost out there so that we can understand the energy that's in this space. Welcome aboard. How are you feeling today, sir?
I'm good. I'm rested.
No, that's good. That's excellent. Listen.
I woke up. It was like 8:20, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" So that's not gonna ever happen again. I'm gonna put my alarm. I'm gonna put my alarm on my phone. That 1 hour before alarm, like I do when I do my consultations. That's how I try to remember. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah. So my apologies to everyone.
No, no. Listen. I needed time and space to get this introduction off. Okay,
Mm, okay,
because I needed to set the table
I see.
on tonight's conversation because a lot of people have a lot of different definitions of what the word submission is or the idea of
Mhm.
submission is. Okay,
Okay.
as well as the idea and understanding of what to be feminine is or femininity is, let alone how those come together to present a code of conduct for modern women to show deference or
You,
chivalry towards
that's
the type of man who is the leader to the destination.
true indeed. True indeed. Yeah, that's
So,
very true.
so you made a wonderful teaser for this earlier
Oh,
today in terms of choosing, well, choosing
mm,
thee and why
yes,
uh, part of the deference, right, that
yes.
a woman in your world,
Hmm.
okay, needs to show and prove
Hmm.
is required. Can you elaborate more on that?
Um, yeah, I was just having a conversation before I drifted off to sleep with a female friend of mine, and she was talking about how a lot of men they always talk about how upset they are that women are not submissive. They don't submit to them. And she was basically saying that they're not presenting something that is submissive worthy first.
Mm,
And this is why I often say you got to be daddy first before a lover. You have to establish daddy first because a child has reverence for the father. And reverence within that is the fear, right? Reverence, fear needed, right? To fuel, right? Her submission. What it really means, though, is trust. When people go to the dentist and they got to put them under, if it's a severe situation, when you go to the doctor and they put you under or they diagnose you, you're trusting their prognosis because they're supposed to be the principal, astute um, person that's in position.
mhm.
PIMP, right? Player in Mac position. So you have to already be in position in your own life, running your own life, right? Um, what you're doing when you have a woman, you're adding her to what you already have going on.
Right.
And that's the major problem is women, they don't see something submissive worthy.
Mm,
Submission means trust. So, but see, the thing that you want to do in her life, you have to already be doing in yours, right? And like making sure you put the alarm on 1 hour before a show. You know,
yes, indeed.
um, Malcolm said, um, in any organization, he said, in any organization, someone has to be the boss. He said, even if it's just one person, you have to be the boss of yourself. You have to be the boss of yourself first, right? Before you can trust her to to trust, right, your leadership. It's easier to trust somebody that's already practicing
Right.
what you know what I'm saying. And so when she comes in, she's coming into something that's already established. And so I need to be daddy already in my own life, so that when she comes in, she can already see, you know, also how well you take care of yourself is an indication. You know what I'm saying? I had on my red Timbs today. You know what I'm saying? Had to deliver some stuff today. Um, when chicks look at a man's feet, you know, they see foundation. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And if they so inclined, they like, damn, the watch, and I'm not saying it has to be like, but see, here's the thing. Here's the key about the daddy part of this. Everything that I do is for me first.
Right.
And a woman can feel that. They can also feel it when it's for her. And that's a weakness. She
Mm.
can't be your motivation. She can't be your validation.
Right.
So purpose is what validates a man. And a real man looks within himself for validation. When you walk into the room, your purpose walks in with you. See, women are energy beings. You gotta convince them energetically, not in your act. A lot of dudes, they try to act that confidence. They try to come in, you know what I'm saying, whatever, whatever, whatever. They try to come in and sell them in that way. If I'm already, you know what I'm saying, in full production, you know what I'm saying, then she can make a cameo appearance in my play,
Indeed.
right? Because hoes come
Going.
going. So she can make a cameo appearance. I'd love if you stayed, but this production is going to continue on. And so that's the whole key to being a boss, is that you first have to be a boss of yourself.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And let's
You know?
appreciate the sawbuck. Shout out to Jonathan Robinson just for the love of that ism, the sawbuck. We appreciate that. And yes, being the boss before the, I'm going to say subordinates, but before the support staff come in,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
is essential.
it's essential.
Essential. Okay. Because that means that you have your world built and you already have the destination set
Right,
prior to bringing on the support.
to support.
And,
That's right.
as the audience may or may not be catching on, the way I like to do presentations is to build up towards, uh, you know, uh, a peak.
Yes,
And so as we progress in this conversation, we have more for them. Okay, we have more for the audience. Um,
for sure.
but but tell me this, on the subject of submission being modern feminine chivalry, and we understand. So I did a brief presentation on what I refer to as social leverage points, because one to one, a man and a woman, in a tournament or, competing, quote unquote, against each other for anything
Mm.
would favor, in your opinion, which side? Just in general.
Oh, the man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
like,
so go ahead.
yeah, I remember, who was that? Was it John McEnroe or some shit? I'm not, don't,
Yes,
it
the
was,
tennis player,
yeah, he was talking,
Billie Jean
and
Queen.
he was talking about Serena,
Mm,
and he wasn't being disrespectful to her, but they was just talking, and he damn near chuckled and laughed off the idea of it wouldn't even be it would be no contest. You know what I'm saying? Because she's strong in the arena of women. You know what
right.
I'm saying? But dealing with this man, that's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? All that, them sounds and and stuff she be making, she gonna have to dig deeper. And she's, it's just it is what it is. We were made to lead,
Correct.
but you don't deserve submission just because you're a male.
Speak on it.
Yeah, you don't deserve submit, and that's where a lot of red pillars get angry because they
Mm,
feel like I'm the man, she should submit. And if a woman doesn't feel that way towards you, it's one or two things. No, it's one thing. It's
mm,
because you have not developed yourself the way that you should. It's just one reason. Because sometimes a chick can feel your God, they can feel your energy,
absolutely.
and they pretend like they don't.
Listen, go there.
You
Go
see what
there.
I'm
I know where you're
saying?
going.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I come into a space and I don't believe you. I'm just gonna, I don't care if that sounds arrogant. I don't believe you. When you try to pretend like you're more interested in the upholstery and the painting of the walls and the carpentry. You walk in a space and the chickens, they just look anywhere other than, it's like I'm the light. You know what I'm saying? The light shines in you, not on you. You know what I'm
let,
saying? I don't believe a chick. I don't even believe you. Girl, stop.
let me let me
You know
let
what
me
I'm
say something.
saying?
Let me say something real quick,
Please.
and I want you to continue with your wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. PG and myself, we did not rehearse anything. We didn't, sometimes we'll, throw around ideas and understandings about a topic prior to having the conversation, but we did not have that
I was
at an
asleep.
extensive way. This man, the myth, the legend, just hit on something that I experienced 3 weeks ago.
Bam.
Now, I'm in Chicago, as those you may already know.
Yeah.
And I get invited out to this art museum by this pretty young thing. Okay, we ain't gonna go
Hey,
over her dimensions. We ain't gonna go over. She just fine. All right, we just gonna let y'all know she fine. I got
that's
invited
right.
to an art museum for a presentation.
Right.
And if she's watching, holla at your man. Anyway, uh,
Right.
we go. I get there. She's there with her friend or whatever. I get there, watch the presentation. It was wonderful. It was lovely. It was at the Museum of Modern Art in Chicago. Okay.
Okay.
And after the presentation, they open it up and then you get to walk around to the various exhibits. Now,
Okay. Yeah.
this young lady decided to play coy in front of her friend, right? Which
Whoa.
young ladies tend to do. So I'm like, oh,
Yes.
cool. I'm going to walk around and appreciate the art because I'm into art. I produce art, multimedia art,
Sure.
so I can appreciate looking at the details.
That's right.
How did the artist construct this? What was
Mhm.
the inspiration? What was their approach to producing the particular piece of art that I'm looking at in the various galleries? And
Yeah.
I notice that as I'm moving forward through these galleries,
Mhm.
they're trailing me.
Of
Okay.
course.
Taking selfies and, whatever. And, acting like they're just entertaining themselves. And then I would look over my shoulder every now and again, and they would, cheese at me or whatever. But as I progressed through the different galleries, they made
Mhm.
sure they kept up.
Right.
Okay. And then when I would turn around to engage, and they're like, oh, yeah, look at this thing. Let's look at this or look at that or whatever. But they never stopped trailing
No.
me.
No.
So, to what you just exemplified right there, they can talk about what's on the walls, they can talk about what's a part of the space, but they will
Right.
always follow the main attraction.
Yes. Yes. Y- Yes. Yes.
Listen. Get the likes up. Make sure that you contribute to the Tea Talk Tabernacle. And always, if you have any questions, put a Q down below and we will address that with you. But let's continue with this ism. Go ahead, PG.
Yeah. So it's I don't believe you. I don't believe you when you try to pretend like you don't see this ism. I don't even believe you. You know what I'm saying? And so if I don't know who I am, how can I expect her to have a clue?
Right.
I gotta know first. And this is, we could call this the gnosis
Mm.
part of game,
Mhm.
right? To truly be him, right? You gotta know it. And it should show up in everything that you do. It's not an act. I don't believe in the phrase act as if.
Mm.
When actors take on a role, they allow themselves to be the instrument
Mm.
and let the spirit of the person or character that they're playing play them.
Right.
They're not acting. Denzel Washington wasn't portraying Malcolm X.
Right.
Denzel was Malcolm X.
Correct.
Denzel said before he would walk on set, you know what I'm saying, whether he overslept before the scene or not, he
Hilarious.
said, I said to Malcolm, okay, come on. Come on. And so you have to be in spirit, right? And that's what they're picking up. They're picking up that spirit, that energy, right? And you can't lead a woman, right, unless you lead her in spirit and in truth. Borrowing
Teach.
from the Bible.
Teach.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Yeah.
Listen. They ain't ready for that. They're not ready for that. But let's do it anyway. Let's do it anyway.
Yes, you have to lead them in spirit and in truth. You can't lead them from here. And a lot of people, they try to learn game and memorize game.
Mm-hmm.
Ice-T said that he was reading Iceberg Slim's book Pimp, and he and his, but when, I guess when that came out, he said or around it, and he and his friend was trying to be pimps, but it wasn't in them. They wasn't
Mm.
born that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe gangsters or rappers or some shit, but he said, and they had some bona fide hoes.
Mm.
And he said they would say some shit, and then he said one of them would go to the bathroom and rifle through the book and try to pick up some terminology and come out and say, you know, this and that and the third. And the broads, they know a real P
Mm-hmm.
from a fake one. You
Ain't
know what
that
I'm
something?
saying? And so I think the next day he said the broad stole his boy's car
Mm.
and rolled out on them because they wasn't, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be that boss in spirit and in truth. It's got to be
Absolutely.
an energy because women are energy beings,
Correct.
and you have to be that energy that they would acquiesce to. Here's a piece on fear, and I've said this before. When I used to get into spats,
Mm-hmm.
not deep, but maybe one time we had one, um, maybe a couple, but when I would have serious spats with my baby mama, it would affect her nervous system.
Mm.
All of a sudden, she would be sick to her stomach
Mm-hmm.
while we were arguing. And it would be to the point where she would literally walk away from me if we was in the kitchen to the trash can and bend over because she felt like she had to throw up because it affected her nervous system because she's having a spat with daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy's upset about something, and it should upset her when you're upset. If it doesn't, that's not your girl.
Mm.
And a lot of women do stuff to upset you on purpose
Right.
because she's manipulating you and watching how you handle it, right? Your game cannot be skin deep.
Absolutely not.
And you know, and that's the Temptations, they sung beauty's only skin deep. But in a live one time they said beauty's only skin deep, but then in the live they said, but ugly is to the bone. And you got to be, like they say, the old school saying, bad to the bone. You got to be a boss to the bone. You got to be a boss, even deeper in spirit. Your spirit has to emanate that, because that's what she's attaching herself to. And her
Correct.
trust is in the essence of what you are, not the act of what you're trying to be.
Now, we definitely appreciate and we receive what you just presented for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say this.
Mm-hmm.
What you mentioned about being daddy
Mm-hmm.
and those who are in submission to you, showing reverence.
Sure.
Um, there's so many scenarios and so many experiences that I can recall, in which, and this is to address Pharaoh I am's question, can you elaborate on leading with your spirit? There's so many situations that I have found myself in
Mm-hmm.
personally, intimately, professionally,
Mm-hmm.
in multiple arenas,
Mm-hmm.
in which leading with the spirit, leading with your true essence, and this is why we can say we are God. You can only say that without interruption, without stuttering, without hesitation, and or without reservation.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember when we discussed the I am,
Mm-hmm.
the moment you say I am,
Mm-hmm.
the universe says, show me.
Right.
And in so many situations and scenarios and instances, when I say I am, no matter what, the group that I'm leading, the woman that I'm in front of, the situation that requires my expertise, my leadership, and my experience,
Mm-hmm.
immediately falls in line.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I say something,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes that which is I commands.
Right.
And when we talk about, to your question, Pharaoh, can you elaborate on leading with your spirit? There's certain scenarios to which once you have you've established yourself, you've
Mm-hmm.
established your position. This is why we
Mm-hmm.
talk about position so much. When
Right.
you establish and enforce your position,
Mm-hmm.
people fall in line
Mm-hmm.
because the spirit of your position is felt by your ability to be that which you claim,
Right.
to be
Yes.
that which you state, to be that which you are. You see, like you said with the example, the wonderful example of Denzel Washington,
Yeah.
he didn't play or portray Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
He became, he embodied that spirit.
Yes. 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 Mm-hmm.
And so when we talk about this thing called game,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we get to the higher levels,
Mm-hmm.
beyond the intermediate level, through the advanced level of game, the
Mm-hmm.
philosophical level, and we talk about the God level of game,
Mm-hmm.
your spirit is, in essence, what is leading all those under your care and keeping towards that destination.
Yes.
And those who have aligned themselves with your leadership have now aligned themselves, knowingly or unknowingly, with your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, once your uh, followers or those who align themselves with you match your frequency,
Mm-hmm.
they are submitting to your mission. They are submitting with your to your leadership.
Right.
And now your spirit has expanded to cover them. Now let's talk about being covered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we're at another level. Now we're in a new
Mm-hmm.
space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is why we say you are the essence of that which you project. And how
Yes.
women who are emotional and or spiritual vessels can pick up on that vibration. And they
Yes.
know who he is. When they're in the
Mm-hmm.
presence of him,
Him. Okay.
when they are in the presence of the apex of cultural stewardship, that which I define as God,
Mm-hmm.
they know that they are in the presence of an exception. They know that they
Yes.
are in the presence of rarity, royalty,
Right.
divinity.
Right.
And it's
Yes.
so, go for it.
No, here's the key too. Also, you want her to trust you, but that's not possible if you don't trust yourself.
Correct.
I have to trust myself. And in the essence of that trust, right, is an energy and a frequency, a vibration that a woman can feel when you walk into a space. I trust me, right? It doesn't mean that I know consciously everything, but here's the thing, a higher part of me does.
Absolutely.
Am I in tune to it? Because if I'm in tune to a higher part of myself, you know, Master Yao talks about the cellular body,
Mm-hmm.
right? The physical. Then he talks about the energy body. Then he talks about the light body. Then he talks about the quantum body. I
Mm-hmm.
was talking to a client one time. He said, when you say that you consulted the Most High,
Mm.
he said, are you talking about another aspect of yourself? And I say, yes, right? The beginning of becoming, right, is the acknowledgement that first and foremost, I'm a microcosm of the macro, right? If God is the ocean, for as an example, and I put this bottle in that ocean and I fill it with that water, there's the container, but what makes you God is what's in it.
Indeed.
What's in you? That's what she submitted, not what's on you. And a lot of men try to take on the trappings,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying, of manhood or godhood.
Mm.
But it is a spirit, it is an essence. It is, Master Yao said that the highest uh, and most important archetype of the four archetypes that a man needs, he said the most important one actually is the eagle.
Mm-hmm.
He said the eagle archetype is the most important and not possible unless you're a superior man,
Mm-hmm.
unless you're the ab man. You see what I'm saying? And so the ab man, here's the thing about the ab man versus the sahu. The ab man, his hands call for submission because the ab man, first and foremost, right, is not a leader of women. He's a leader of men.
Mm.
The ad man is a leader of men. Do the men in a man's space or community respect him? Do they respect his position? Right? Like
Right.
I talked about before, Pimp God is not something that I pride myself on, and I created this name for myself, this moniker. It was given to me. I simply wrote a book called Pimp God. I never named myself that. I was known in Cleveland as B or Warren B. That's why I said Pimp God, which your mama should have told you, written by Warren B. All of my books say written by Warren B.
Mhm.
Because that was just an idea for the reader
Right.
until I realized that I must have been him,
Right.
because people kept referring to me as that. Hey, PG, Pimp God, what you think about this? What you think about that? And I will answer, whatever their questions was. But here's what people need to understand.
Mhm.
What makes me a god is my ability to do the very thing that I want a woman to do with me.
Mm.
I need to submit to a higher consciousness.
Yes, indeed.
Do I know how to submit? Not to her, right? But I become him, right? The more familiar I become with him. So if the absolute, right,
Oh,
is me or I, or the I am, right?
yes.
Then my connection to that is what I trust.
Yes.
So when I come in with that trust, that's what she's submitting to.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Speak on that. And
Yeah.
those who are in the chat, please understand that your likes are greatly appreciated. Your contributions to the Tea Talk Tabernacle and to the Super Chats are very much so appreciated. Make sure that you're sub to Pimp Jeezy's social media platforms to continue to get this high level of that thing that we call game, aka ism. Now, PG, there are so many examples that I can relate, and I do relate some of the examples. I'm vibing with what you just mentioned about the app, man. You know, being the leader of men first and primarily.
Mhm. Yes.
You of my many previous responsibilities and roles,
Mhm.
I'm reminded of a lot of times in which I was placed in leadership positions, not only with NFL security, and I'm talking about with the Chicago Bears, with the Minnesota
Mhm.
Vikings, and with the Buffalo
Mhm.
Bills.
Mhm.
I was just looking at highlights from the Super Bowl that just played. They was just played recently,
Mhm.
and there was a field runner, a random guy that runs onto the field where they have to stop play and collect them and remove them.
Yeah.
Part of my role was to um, lead the team that does that.
Mhm.
So if you could imagine, and there's
Mhm.
there's footage of me online, having to do that, and I placed it on the Patreon. But I
Mhm.
was in charge of not only men men and women who were behind the scenes, okay, but who are on that field of play where
Mhm.
millions are watching at home, and then about between 60 and 70,000 are in the stands, celebrity, but you also have officials from
Yes.
from three-letter organizations depending on who's in the building.
Right.
You've got snipers on the roof. You've
Yeah.
got bomb squad. You've got all of these. Yeah. Oh, listen. During the NFL season, the NFL stadium, and this is just a little tangent. We're gonna get back to what we're talking about. During the NFL season, the NFL stadium is one of the most secure locations in the city.
Mhm.
in a given city. Okay. So
Yes.
all eyes are on that space. And at different points, my role was to lead the team that protected that space, that
Mm-hmm.
100-yard patch of grass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they had to rely on me implicitly
Mm-hmm. Yes.
to lead the team of uh, security personnel
Mm-hmm.
and in how they were arranged, how, because I had to select the personnel, I had to train the personnel. We had to go through the motions. We had to go through scenarios.
Yes.
What happens if this happens? What happens if a woman tries to streak? Who gets the blanket and what do you do? How fast is your reaction?
Mm-hmm.
You can't let them go from end to end. All these types of
Scenario.
informed decisions and scenario training, and above all that, being ready for that actual moment when it happens.
Right.
And as
And
you could imagine, it certainly happened
yes.
on national TV. And like I said, those who are sub to the Patreon, I put the clip, because lo and behold, those camera phones, man, it was somebody that zoomed right in on me and my primary team carting the guy off the field.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
I say that to say that being a leader of men first, to what you're mentioning, is a testament
Right.
to the level of trust that you have in yourself.
Right.
Because you
Think.
can't think about what ifs in a situation like that. Oh, what if I trip? Oh, what if I miss the person? Oh, what if I selected the wrong person for this duty? What if I can't do? What if I can't execute my role or my function? None of that
Mm-hmm.
even enters the mind.
No.
The only thing that I'm thinking in that moment, okay,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm gonna make it do what it do.
Yes. Be, 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 because you trust yourself,
Absolutely,
and also because they say practice makes perfect.
indeed.
In the game, Iceberg said that in his alone time,
Hmm.
right, he would imagine, he would literally go back to his childhood and he would imagine every kind of scenario that
Hmm.
his hoes could throw at him. And he would practice in his imagination how he would handle it. And he
Right.
would play those scenarios over and over again because he knew the different temperaments of his different hoes and how they might come and blah, 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 blah. And there were certain scenarios. He gave a scenario of one of the finest bitches that he ever had.
Mm.
And she knew that she was bad. And I think she was from London or some shit. She was British or some shit. And he said this bitch was a pimp's dream. And
Mm.
she challenged him in a certain way
Mhm.
after he dropped her off at the end of the night because he hadn't spent any time with her lately. Man that's thirsty to get some pussy. He
Right.
hadn't spent any time with this bad bitch lately because
Mm.
he was about his bi. And so when he dropped her off that night, then she challenged him and
Mm.
in front of the other hoes. And this pretty bitch that was really listening to see how he was gonna handle it. She asked him, she said, "Are you coming back to my house this morning?" She said, "I haven't seen you in a while." And he had to fit that steel mask on him because he said his hose was all ears to see how he was gonna handle this pretty bitch. And he let her know. He said, he said, I don't get paid for freaking off with my hoes. He said, I told you, get in there, take a bath, and get some shut eye. so that you could be up at such and such, and be on the street at noon.
Mm.
And he said that she challenged him. And he said if he was young and dumb,
Right.
he said he would have broke her jaw. You know what I'm saying? He said, but he had just gotten out. So he said
Right.
the penitentiary was too fresh in his mind. So he didn't do that. So he went into his bag of
Mm.
game, and he met the challenge by letting her know that, she has to do what he says. And then she challenged his mandate by saying that I'm cutting out. I'm leaving you. And he let her know, I'll be here in the morning, first thing in the morning, to drop your funky ass off. And he rifled away from the curb and left the bitch standing outside.
Yes, indeed.
And on the way to the station, the train station, he said he kept going through his mind, looking for a way to retract this scenario, because he had already put it out there in his
Mhm.
words, right? He had already put that I am out there. He
Right.
can't pull it back. And he said he kept looking for a way out of this situation without kissing her ass. And he
Mhm.
said there was no way out of this situation. So he just kept driving and took her ass and when they got to the train station or got close, she was the one that broke down
Mm.
and said, Daddy, are you really going to let me go? She said, I'm sorry. And this and that. And he still had to hold on. He said, I thought you was that bitch. I thought you was that one that I could count on. He said, but you've proven that you're not that bitch. He said, I gotta
Mm.
let you go. And then she really just fell in his lap and this and that. So he said the game required him. He said he had a theory about hoes that party pimps. How the fuck she gonna get on a train?
Mm.
Unless she got some stash somewhere that she was holding out on. He said, you got to give me that cash you've been holding out on, right, before you make this trip. He said, I know you've been holding out. Give me that cash. Then I'll know you're my hoe. And sure enough, she gave him the money that
Mm.
she had been holding out on. And he let her stay, right? And so that opens up a whole nother conversation about, taking a chick back in your life and what are the requirements of that, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
of whether or not you take a woman back. But the bottom line is principle is such that when you put it out there, you have to be ready for whatever comes. When I was dealing with my baby mama, I had a whole family already.
Mhm.
And my baby mama was my side piece,
Mm.
period. And she knew that. I told her I was polygamous.
Mhm.
And she accepted that. And early in our relationship, and I only had one day out of a week to spend with her. And my baby mama's family used to talk to her and they say, Warren, he got a girl. They live together. Why are you with him? And she told her, she said, when I'm with him, I'm happy.
Mm.
That's what she told her own family. So she didn't know that in my consciousness, she was actually moving up the ranks,
Right.
in my consciousness because of the stance that she took. You know what I'm saying? But this one time, I put the whole relationship on the line.
Mm.
I was looking forward to seeing her that weekend. I only had one day out of the week to see her. This one particular weekend, this is early on, once we made it intimate,
Mhm.
she had told me that earlier that same day, she had went to lunch with a friend and it was a male. She let me know. She said, we just had lunch. And then when that Friday came, when I was supposed to see her and she was supposed to come get me, she said, well, she said, maybe we'll just do it next weekend. So I had to put our whole relationship on to test her.
Right.
And I had to live with however this thing happened. If it didn't roll my way,
Exactly.
it was a chance I took. And my heart was in my stomach almost but I had to do it. And so I said, when she told me, she said, yeah, we'll just hook up next weekend. I said, I was thinking. I said, I really think that, I've been thinking really hard on this. I wasn't. I'm lying like shit. I'm coming up with this on the fly. I
Mm-hmm.
said, I've been thinking really hard about this. I really think that we just need to just go back to just being friends. Let's just pull back and just go back to our friendship. And she said, what? And I said, yeah, I don't know if we're really heading in the right direction with this, what we're doing. And then she said, I'm coming to get you. And but I had to put it on the line. Had that gone wrong? And she said, you know what? I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we just need to, that would have hurt me like a motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie. It would have hurt
Mm-hmm.
like shit. But I had to take that chance.
Right.
And a woman has to know that you're not afraid of losing her. You need to be more afraid of losing her respect than losing her. You
Mm-hmm.
need to be more afraid of losing her respect than losing your in-house pussy. You need to be more afraid of losing her reverence, her respect for you, because those are the building blocks of the trust that we're talking about. He must believe in his position if he's willing to let me go for it.
Right.
And that's key. She needs to feel that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Remember, uh, everyone in the chat understand that you are receiving high level game. You are receiving high level wisdom with every, detailed explained, with every story related, with every memory brought up as an example. Any of those who have studied philosophy at a high level, read books about the structures that are developed, the dynamics that are presented with mainstream philosophy, that those lessons have to come with anecdotes.
The
They have to
anecdote.
come with stories and scenarios and scenes and instances that portray the philosophical lesson that's being presented, that
That's right.
portray the philosophical value and or the principle that is being brought across from the presenter. Gentlemen and ladies who are in attendance, no other place really exists at this level where you can receive this level of instruction outside of the Patreon, outside of the paywall, outside of blessing the presenters with your tributes and your tokens of appreciation for their work. Make sure that you do that here in the chat. Make sure you do that with liking this, sharing, subscribing both to Pimp God's channel and myself. And always, we encourage you to show love with super chats and your question. Here's one question right now.
Okay.
Can UPG elaborate on the importance of selling the vision versus selling yourself?
Yes. Here's the secret. You have to be your first hope.
Mm.
When I see a chick with a nice body and a nice setup, and sometimes it is absolutely amazing. If I allow desire
Mhm.
to overtake me, I'm admitting to her that I don't deserve it.
Mm.
because that desire is going to come off. No matter how cool I try to be, underneath, if there's an underlying energy of desire, what is desire in this respect? It's admitting that you don't already have it.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I'm admitting. So when I speak to her, even if I try to be cool with it, right, my desire, right, means that one of us, between she and I, just sold the other one. In the pimp game, they say pimps don't buy dreams, they sell them. So I can't take a chick serious unless she's purchasing what I'm selling. I don't buy dreams, I sell them. And so this, that shape, that essence, that beauty, you know, the way she flicks her hair and all this kind of stuff. The way
Listen,
she stands. You say what?
so let's speak on that femininity. This is why
Oh,
we love feminine women. We love feminine women. Speak on it.
let me check this out, right? D.L. Hewley said this one time, and I got it. I got the joke. I got the motherfucking joke. He said, when I come back the next time, he said, I don't want to come back as a man when after I die. He said, I want to come back as a bicycle seat of one of the finest women in the world. I want to be the bicycle seat that she sits all of that heavenly. Whoo, I need that heavenly. Put that Holy Ghost Joan on for me. That, right? That is what it just ignites a man's passion, the
Yeah.
essence of a woman.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And so I love her panties. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I
Listen,
love
speak the truth.
the pants that she wore last night.
Mm.
I love the seat that she sits on. I love the shoes that she wears. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I love women where to the point where if we were walking in a mall
Mm-hmm.
and she had too many bags,
Mm.
I'm so confident in my masculinity, I would take her purse and put it on my shoulder
Watch
as
out
we
there
walk
now.
as we walk through the mall. And dare a motherfucker to say something. You dig? Because I love women. I love women, right? But what
Listen.
I'm sharing with her is a slice of what I already have for myself. You see what I'm saying? And so when I see a beautiful woman, right, one of us is going to sell the other one.
Mm.
And a woman is used to men purchasing what she's selling. And on the street, a prostitute is not selling pussy.
Mm.
She's selling an idea. That's why she can't trust a trick to be her man. She
Mm.
can't trust a man that buys ideas, right? Or dreams. She can only trust the man that sells them. That's the only
Mm.
man that could be her pimp.
Listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. And a lot of people. Listen to me. Listen to me right now. Everybody within the sound of my voice, okay?
Mm.
Anytime I take on a new coaching client, and those who are interested, holler at the email. I break down a lot of my pedigree, and I share resources that I have with them, just so that they understand what doesn't get explained in the shorts and the videos that I
Sure.
post.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
What you just related, and you can confirm or deny or let me know.
Good.
What you just related, sir.
Mm.
If you're familiar with the name Dostoevsky, the Russian philosopher, okay. Now,
Okay.
this is one of his books, one of his famous books, Notes from the Underground.
Okay.
Okay. A 700 page book about when he
Wow.
was in the Russian gulag in Siberia.
Mm.
One of the major ideas, and of course, I'm going to tie this together. We just got to let it
Sure,
marinate a
of
little bit.
course. Take your time. Take your time.
One of the major ideas that Dostoevsky is known for is his disdain for intellectuals,
Okay.
which if a person isn't really on that level of wisdom,
Mm.
would believe to be counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Dostoevsky appreciated philosophers,
Sure.
but he had disdain for intellectuals.
Okay.
He appreciated philosophers, but had disdain for intellectuals. Now, cousin, why? How is this possible? What does that even mean? Let's understand first that there's a difference between a philosopher and an intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
Because and Pimp God just you don't know what you just did. The difference between a philosopher and an intellectual is this: an intellectual sells ideas,
Mm-hmm.
the philosopher creates them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he had disdain for the intellectual versus the philosopher.
Yes.
You see, when the game is in you,
Yes.
you create.
You create.
The intellectual listens, chooses, and selects which ideas from the philosopher that he is then going to turn and in turn sell.
Right.
He wears them
Exactly.
on him.
Thank
Whereas
you.
with the philosopher, brings them into being
Mm-hmm.
from inside of him.
From the
People,
inside out.
people don't understand that.
And
Listen,
that's
listen.
and that's why before a pimp could have a hoe, he has to be his first hoe.
Absolutely.
I gotta buy what I'm selling. In my days in Cleveland, when I used to sell fragrances on the street, and I'd have either something new that I made or a new fragrance that was out. When I would put that fragrance on, the point of sale wasn't the fragrance on their hand or their, the point of sale was right here. Not them smelling it, but look again. The point of sale was when they were looking in my eyes while
Mm,
they were smelling it. What you're selling is a feeling, not a product.
right.
And the feeling that you're selling is certainty.
Yes.
So when they're smelling it, and they're looking in my eyes, and I'm like, yeah, that's that one right there. They see certainty. That's the point of sale. It's not the fragrance.
Indeed.
It's the feeling of certainty. It's not acting certain. It's being certain.
Absolutely.
And I have to be pimp, so to speak, in my own life first and grow trust in that within my own life. Sometimes, like, if you ask me like what I do all day,
Mm-hmm.
here's the honest to God truth. This is the honest to God truth. I follow my bliss.
Oh, stop. Stop. Listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. Okay. And I'm talking to the audience.
Come on.
Listen to me very carefully. If you ever thought for an instant that you didn't have a way forward through this insane
Mm.
world that we exist in, if
Yes,
you
yes.
ever thought for an instant, for a moment, that through the fog, through the smoke, through the
Mm.
thick blanket of chaos that we
Hmm.
currently find ourselves geopolitically, locally, on this the social scene, on the dating scene, in the mating sphere, in the space, look no further than the words of wisdom that were just spoken. Let's understand and appreciate what he just said.
Mm.
What
Mm.
do you do all day?
Yeah, I follow my bliss. And what that means is I had to first put myself in what? Player in Mac position, PIMP. That's what my brand is about. Player in Mac position is an alley-oop for the slam dunk of God. But first I
Mm-hmm.
got to be a PIMP first. I can't be God until I'm first a player in Mac position, right? And if you think about the Kabbalah,
Mm.
the Sahu man,
Mm-hmm.
the Ab man, the Ba man. The Ba man represents the God man. But first, I got to get to that middle one that we talked about earlier, the Ab man, which is the
Mm-hmm.
superior man. The Ab man is the alley-oop for the slam dunk of the God. So what is God? Okay, if PIMP is player in Mac position, God is generator, operator, destroyer.
Yes, indeed.
The G, the generator, means that I am. I implement, right? And stay within the essence of God, which is a creator. So every day, what do? I got things that I have to do. Sometimes when I need to decompress, because I completely own my time,
Right.
right? Some people, they own a Rolex, right? But they don't own their own time, right? I own my time. All day, I decide what I do, like all day, like every single day. You know what I'm saying? So the activities of my day consist of following my bliss from moment to moment.
Right.
When I work on an audiobook, I might only feel like doing 20 minutes of it. I got my notes. So I hit pause
Mm-hmm.
when I don't feel like it right any further. I think I got a good foundation. Let me come back to that.
Right.
Then I might do a commercial and work on a commercial because editing takes up a lot of time when you're dealing with videography and that kind of. I might work on a thumbnail
Mm-hmm.
for my next project or my next video or promotion or whatever the case may be. Then the phone rings. If I have the bandwidth,
Mm-hmm.
I'll answer it and entertain it. But what I do from moment to moment is what I feel the most happiest doing.
Yes.
And that's the key to bliss is now in the process of that, in terms of building success and success habits, things of
Mm-hmm.
that nature, you find a certain sequence of certain things that you do, the proper way to start your day off. Getting up before the sun. I'm up before the sun every day.
Mm-hmm.
So forgive me for oversleeping, but I probably got up at 2:30 this morning, 2:33.
Right.
So by a certain time, my body starts shutting down anyway because I got up hours before the average person
Right.
every day. And you know, sometimes by the time I get out of bed, I was already working on something for 45 minutes in bed. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I just happened to get up by at that time. But the point is, I follow my bliss from moment to moment. Um,
Yeah.
I might,
Salute to that.
yeah, and that's what that's how I move. And it's a position that we should all be striving for. It doesn't mean everybody has to be an entrepreneur, but at least in the time that is yours, like after work, um, I knew I had a couple of errands to run today. I knew that when I got back, I was going to take a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely took a nap, but I'm following my bliss. You know, if I got products to make,
Right.
um, I don't just do it in a laborious manner.
Right. Mechanically.
No, when the orders come in and I'm like, okay, I gotta make this, I gotta make this, I gotta make this. I might do it in spurts and things like that. And if it gets too strenuous, then I put everything down and go watch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Throw
Mm-hmm.
but I'm following my bliss all day. And I believe that that is a state of, I think in the Indian systems, they call it the samadhi state,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a state of inner bliss, maybe yogis or something like that. But I live in that space. So
Mm-hmm.
everything that I do at any moment, and I work very hard,
Right.
but I do it based upon whatever, and within bliss, we're getting into something else. I'm not going to go that far into it, but within that bliss, you'll find purpose.
Certainly.
But anyway, I'll leave that right
All
there.
right. No, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. And let's be clear. I've already put the I've already put the timer down. I try to keep these between 2 hours, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. We are going over 2 hours today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest. We are going to keep supplying you with this ism, and let's move forward. But let's
And
first.
shout out to Louis Castillo. That's one of
Okay.
that brother right there. I told him, I said, if we was ever together somewhere and I introduced him and they said, who is this? I'll say that's God.
Oh yeah. Hey. Represent, Lewis Castillo. We appreciate that. Get on a call with PG. It will
Oh
change
no, he
your.
already
There you go. Yeah.
yeah.
Cash them out.
Yeah.
Absolutely cash them out. We got another one right here. Shout out to Indigo Wisdom. How you feeling?
Oh yeah.
Female here, sapiosexual, and a lover of philosophy. Just here to listen and be inspired by the deep, authentic convo. So rare in these times. Thank you. Absolutely. We appreciate that. Shout out to you for that, Finn. We appreciate that. Do like, subscribe, and come back again.
Yes.
Once again, let's see. This is Andre 420 Reformed. Let's see. I think it's a 3 spot. Maybe it's a 2 spot. I'm still on the quest to buy time. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. let's
Mhm.
continue with that. I think, let's see, Ananda. I don't know if that's a reference to a state, but
Mm,
we'll get to that. We'll
okay.
get to that. Now to keep this moving forward, because we have to appreciate the principles that are being brought forward as we discuss how submission is feminine chivalry.
Yes.
We understand that in the space that we call um, game and presenting and practicing the philosophical curriculum of game, we understand that above all things, we must love ourselves. And how do we
Yes.
love ourselves? By showing self care, by
Self-care.
showing self development, okay, by surrounding ourselves with the
Mhm.
type of people that bring value so that we can
Yes.
exchange value with those people.
Yeah.
Discussing about how you prioritize bliss and that you exist in a state of bliss. First of all, that's
Mhm.
advanced. Okay, yeah, she's clarifying. Here you go. It
Oh,
says Ananda equals bliss. Okay,
boom.
so
Okay.
thank you very much for that, Indigo Wisdom One.
Dope.
Uh,
Thank you.
that is a level of love and understanding and appreciation. But I just want to touch on one thing that you mentioned before with the
Okay.
mall example, because we were talking about how much we love women, we love the feminine essence, we love all of the things, all the aspects of uh, true women, okay, feminine women,
Mhm. Mhm.
and why submission is feminine chivalry.
Chivalry. Yeah.
The reason why, and we will always continue to recite and repeat, I love women. I
Mhm.
love femininity.
Mhm.
PG, he put the example of removing the person, putting it on. And that's confidence and that's security.
Shit.
That's a level of
Yeah.
security that the average man couldn't even imagine. Okay. And this is why. Here's the takeaway from that, and then we'll push forward.
Mm.
Whenever you say or come to the point where you say, I love you,
Mhm.
I love you,
Mhm.
what you are truly saying is, I am you. Okay.
Yes.
When you
Yes.
have a love for something, it goes beyond that physical, the material realm, and into that spiritual realm that we spoke of earlier.
Mhm.
So when we talk about spirit, we're talking about vibratory frequency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
For those who are into the scientific aspect of this or the observational aspect of it.
Mhm.
Now, when women catch your vibe,
Yeah.
they understand, and let's be clear, let's be specific. We're talking about women in a developed country or a developed region or a developed quote unquote world
Yeah.
where they have so many social leverage points, meaning laws, policies, and aspects of how society is structured that puts them in a position of leverage and or power, so to speak.
Mhm.
Now we understand that that power is artificial.
Mhm.
Okay. We understand that that power is artificial.
Mhm.
However, it's still power because it's enforced by men.
Yes.
Okay. Those policies, uh, those instances, those social leverage points are enforced by other men.
Yeah.
When a woman from this landscape comes into contact with a man who is a practitioner of that thing we call game,
Mhm.
he's gamed up.
Yeah.
She immediately recognizes that all of those social leverage points
Mhm.
are ineffective in terms of leveraging them against him. Now, let me
Right.
be clear, a man who is unaware of his environment
Yes.
can be affected by it, i.e., child support,
Yes.
i.e., divorce,
Yes.
i.e., choosing a woman without properly vetting her.
Mhm.
Okay, you're definitely going to be affected. That's going to affect the outcome.
It's gonna affect
However,
opportunity.
when you receive that which we call game, the experience of men who have been there before, who understand those trappings, who understand those hurdles, who understand those leverage points that
Mhm.
are designed not only to put a woman in a quote unquote superior position and or an
Mhm.
equal social position to a man, but designed to enrich the system at large.
Mhm.
Now, with that information, the man who practices game has a better chance at constructing a strategy, which is part of how I define game in and of itself.
Mm.
What is your strategy for social scenarios? You see? And
Mhm.
so, equipped with this wisdom is how a man positions himself to exist in his bliss. Shout out to
Yeah.
PG. To
Shout out
exist
to
in his happiness. And guess what? Bliss is infectious,
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is.
Bliss is desirable.
Yes.
Bliss is valuable, which is also attractive. You
Yes.
see, people want what you have when they
Right.
see that you're happy with that. Well, damn,
Yes.
what's making you so happy? Why are you so calm? Why are you so peaceful? Why are you
Mhm.
smiling?
Right.
Right?
That's right.
You didn't just jump out of Maybach, let me be clear.
That's right.
You don't have a private jet right now yet. you, you you don't get a mech mansion or whatever.
Right.
Perhaps you have you.
Yes.
You have you,
Right.
and that's priceless.
That's priceless.
And now that energy, that spirit is so desirous and inviting that there you go, indigo wisdom. That bliss is irresistible,
It's irresistible. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
To the point where women in the modern landscape, the modern social landscape, who know that they have scales tipped in their favor, who
Yeah.
know that they have actual policy that
Mhm.
affords them social leverage points that
Mhm.
some women like to hold over other guys' heads about. Oh, it makes so much money. Oh, I'm a VP of whatever. Oh, I have however many degrees. Guess what happens in our world? Guess what happens in the world of a former exotic entertainer? Guess what
Mhm.
happens in the world of a god that embodies the spirit of a pimp?
Right.
She needs all that because
Yep.
she gonna need to break that.
Mhm. Yes. Yes.
As
Yes.
soon as she says, "I am a VP, I am
Mhm.
a six-figure earner,
Sure.
I am a thus and such." Oh, now we're the universe, right?
Mhm.
And you know
Mhm.
what the universe says when you declare that I am?
Right.
Show me.
Right.
Show me that you're a six-figure earner. Show me that you're a
Right.
degree holder. Show me that you're a VP of this and that and the third. And bring that as tribute to my world. If you
Right.
even want to sniff this
Oh,
bliss.
please, please, I beg you. See, my adoration of the feminine principle.
Mhm.
Like for instance, when I'm in public, um, sometimes when I'm walking with Bella Bliss, like and she's walking all fast,
Mm.
I'll be like, "Come here." I talk to her like that. I said, "Come here,"
Slow your ass
because I
down.
don't walk fast. I own the square on this sidewalk that I'm on until I get to the next one. So I own my space. I own, you know what I'm saying, my aura. So How can I protect you if a car loses control and
Mm.
heads in our direction and my instincts are faster than yours
Mm-hmm.
if you're walking all in front of me?
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell her, I said, come here. And I'll make her walk side by side with me, right? Because this is order.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And my adoration, though, of the feminine principle, it has to be measured. Love is not something that you pour onto a woman.
Mm.
You give it in increments. You give it in increments. You don't pour it. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because that could move into desire now. Now you back in desire again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You coming in and just you're trying to, it's like
They say
I
love
t-
bombing.
yes, I define it as love versus possession,
Mm.
right? When you love a woman, it's because you love yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you love, you observe her and you conserve.
Mm-hmm.
You feed her as, she shows that she's ready for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's certain stuff that I could talk about that it make a chick's eyes glaze over.
Right.
You know, not because I read it in a book, but because I downloaded it in meditation,
Correct.
right? And any question that she has, she could bring it to me. I'll take it to the Most High
Speak on that.
and give you a breakdown on it. I've done these things before. I do it all the time. So, a lot of times I receive validation in the world for something that I downloaded in meditation.
Mm-hmm. And let's be clear. Let's be clear about another gem that PG just dropped.
Mm,
And PG, if you have the link or a reference for your for any of your books, you can share that in the chat or just shoot it over to me and I'll put it in the chat. What PG
okay,
just explained, and we're gonna go back to the yogi tradition. Okay.
sure.
Last time we were discussing, I showed you the book by the Sadhguru
Sadhguru.
on his question and answer sessions that he has in his various um, temples and centers.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just touched upon it parallels a conversation he was having about enlightenment, okay,
Okay.
or samsara, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
since we're using the language, right? You
Yeah.
got moksha and samsara,
Mm-hmm.
um, rebirth and enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
And when they really get into the practice and the ritual and the methodology and or science of enlightenment, it
Mm-hmm.
has to do with being able to handle the kundalini
Yes.
activation. Okay.
Yes.
Now this is not woo woo. This is not, hotep or whatever, but it has to do with how much of a download a person can handle. You see,
Yes.
PG mentioned the download and dispersing love, meaning your light in increments. This is
Mm-hmm.
not because he's selfish.
No.
This is not because a developed man is selfish. On the
Mm-hmm.
contrary, he's wise and he's
That's it.
thoughtful because, as the Sadhguru says, if a download happens too fast with the wrong person, it can kill
Mm-hmm.
them. It could literally incapacitate them.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Mm-hmm.
why the process of enlightenment happens over a lifetime.
Yeah.
and as it
Yeah.
should. It's a flourishing event. It's a
Right.
part of development that is supposed to happen in stages and in phases.
That's true.
And in this conversation that the Sadhguru was having with, um, a student, they were asking him why children rarely, uh, you know, achieve enlightenment at a young age.
Mhm.
Their bodies are physically incapable. Most children, the vast majority of children. Obviously, there are some savants and exceptional prodigies. However, the
Sure.
majority of children are meant to be children.
Yeah.
The majority of children are meant to enjoy a childhood of exploration and discovery and development naturally. You see,
Hmm.
that's why there are levels to this thing we call game: the elementary level, the intermediate level, the advanced level, the God level. And though for those who are on my Patreon, you understand about the cosmic level of game. Okay,
Hmm.
I say this to say that the things that PG is explaining show up in documented and expressed philosophies
Mm.
in other societies, in other countries, from
Yeah.
other master
Systems.
teachers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. You're right.
let's be clear for those who are in the chat. I don't come up with these subjects haphazardly. Now they we give consideration to what we're discussing. I try to relate it to something that's happening in modern society, but
Right.
we do our research, we do our exploration, our reading. We not only write books, but we we read vigorously. So when we
Yeah.
talk about various subjects, and we have coaching clients, we can pull those references. Oh, let's be clear. Meditation is a given. Okay. Receiving
Yes.
downloads from uh, um, the Most High source, the great expanse, however you'd like to present it,
Right.
that's that's on the regular. However, when we're dealing with the general public, we have to act as a transformer, which
Yes.
steps down that energy, which steps
Yes.
down that
Right.
level of wisdom and understanding so that it is receivable. And so
That's right.
when we apply this to the relationship space, though we love the women that we allow the privilege to be in our space, we
Hmm.
also have to understand that part of the acts of love, part of the acts of kindness and understanding and leadership is to not overly
No.
share, not
No.
overwhelm her or them with what we have.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. I was at my baby mama's house. We were broken up.
mm,
She slept in the finished attic. That was what used to be our room. I'm in the basement. Uh and the kids are on the middle floor. And her instinct made her come to me. You got to establish daddy first before a
mhm,
lover. Here's an example of that. For whatever reason, that night, she took sick.
mm,
She got up, she felt ill. She came downstairs and she got some Kool-Aid,
mm,
just sipped on that a little bit. And then she threw up.
mm,
And she felt so weak for whatever reason. It was like a bug or something. She just had this particular night. Now I'm in the basement. I don't know what's going on. I'm asleep, probably. She said, I could barely walk. I was so weak. She said, and I took what little energy that I had in my body.
mm,
And she made her way down those steps. to me and
Mhm.
climbed in the bed with me. She said, in so many words, she didn't know why she had to come lay next to me when she just woke up and just was feeling ill for some reason. And she said, well, I didn't have much strength. She said, but I took what strength that I had and I came downstairs and I got in the bed with
Mhm.
you. And when she got in the bed with me, um, one of the archetypes of a developed man, according to Master Yao, is
Mhm.
something that's rarely talked about. It's called a healer archetype.
Mhm.
In a developed man, he has a healer buried inside him. And if you're with a developed man, that healer can download, right, the anecdote for this particular situation.
Mm. Mhm.
So she came downstairs, she climbed in the bed, and she told me what was wrong with her. So the first thing that I did is I went upstairs in the kitchen. I grabbed my echinacea bottle.
Mhm.
I took the 2 capsules and I opened them and I poured out the contents. Then I grabbed my oil of oregano
Mhm.
and I put probably, I don't remember what I did. It depended on the situation because I'm listening. So whatever I was told, that's how many drops I put in. It
Right.
might have been 4, if it's a severe case, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It might have been 4 drops. Put that in there, put the cap back on it, got some water, and I came downstairs and I said, take this. And she sat up like my daughter. She just did what I said. She didn't know why, but she came down there. So I gave her this because I had to first stop the vomiting.
Mhm.
So she took that. Because when that dissolved, oregano oil is the Mac when it comes to viruses and parasites. It's
Mm.
the Mac. So, boom, that took care of that. And then this really happened. While she was cuddled up with me, laid with me, I asked the Most High how to finish this healing process.
Mm.
So, as I held her, this actually happened. You ever remember the old movies of Dracula
Mhm.
where he could turn into a mist, like a fog,
Mhm.
and it'd be like a green fog, and you could see the fog moving through a space, and that fog could go underneath a door
Mhm.
and come out on the other side as a human.
Mhm.
I administered to her, and I was told this to surround both of us with a green, foggy mist
Mm.
that every time she breathed in, she was breathing in this mist, which is
Mhm.
also interesting because the 4th chakra is green.
Mhm.
And it was surrounding us. And I held that consciousness and that vibration. This green mist was a medicine that was probably healing some of her higher bodies
Right.
while she laid with me. And I maintained that mist as I held her around us. And so that each and every time that she
Right.
breathed in this mist. And I held that mist as I held her. It wasn't just imagination because everything is energy and information.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? And so I maintained and held that. But for some reason, something made her seek me out.
Right.
And she just took whatever little strength that she had. She said, I barely made it down those steps. And she climbed into bed with me. And I administered that. But this is what I'm saying about this is the God
Right.
part of the PIMP. They don't understand what they think it's he talking about, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And so And something else that I tell my clients when I'm on a phone consultation, I'm not in my masculine principle.
Mm.
I'm not in my ego. I'm actually, this is the symbol of masculinity. This is the symbol of femininity.
Mhm.
When I am on a consultation, I'm in my feminine principle.
Mhm.
Yeah, but they talking to the PG. They talking to Pimp God. Yeah. And now I'm about
Indeed.
to show you what this God is about. Because while I'm giving them information, I'm only transferring to them what I'm hearing,
Mhm.
not from them, but from my higher self. I'm giving it to them as it comes through me, not from here. Yeah, well, young blood. See, here's the thing you gotta understand about these bitches. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? When you put the one to the two, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I can do all of that dumb shit, but what I'm really doing is listening. And so as they talk to me, right, I'm the instrument
Right.
and I'm allowing the Most High to play me and allow that to come through. So when I give them information, I was sitting with a client one time. He said there's this new chick that he was talking with. I said, okay. So he showed me a picture of her.
Mhm.
And I took one look at the picture and I said, you got to be careful with her.
Mm.
He said, why? I said, because she fooled around in them arts.
Right.
I don't know this chick. I just looked at a picture that
Right.
quick. I said, yeah, you got to be careful with her. She fooled around in them arts. And then he said, how the hell do you do that? Because he knew her. I don't know her. I only seen one picture of her. I said, she fooled around with them arts. I said, so in other words, she'll use that.
Right.
So he goes to her Instagram and he scrolls through right after I said that. And then he showed me a picture that she had uploaded.
Mm.
She took the picture. It was a bundle of sage
Mhm.
right next to a rolled joint, right next to a gun.
Of course.
And when I saw the picture, I said, that's what I mean. She weaponizes the arts.
Right.
So be careful. And I said, I didn't say to do or not to do. I can't tell a man what to do. But he made me get out of the car because we had just had breakfast. It was cold outside too. We had the heat on. I'm like, shit, I'm good. He made me get out of the car. He said, man, get out of the car. I'm like, God damn. So I got out of the car. He gave me like, the boy hug, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? He said,
Right.
man, you him.
There
He
you
said,
go.
how did you know that? Because he knows this chick. I
Right.
didn't see her page. I didn't know that she had uploaded that.
Mhm.
It's her eyes. It's the
Yes.
windows to the soul. So I wasn't saying she's evil or nothing like that. I just said, just be careful. You know what I'm saying? But I've done that so many times with people. I did that with Ron Wills.
Mm.
Me and Ron Wills did a Mac lessons one time, and he pulled up his phone. He just started scrolling.
Mhm.
He said, "What you think of her?" And I gave him a rundown. I don't know her. Then he scrolled again. He said, "What do you think of her?" And then I took the picture. He noticed I did something. I would take it and
Right.
I'll pull her face in real close so I can see her eyes. And then I give him a rundown. And he just was flipping through and showing, and I was giving him rundowns on different chicks. And
Yes, indeed.
he said, how do you know what I'm saying? And it's just, because one of them he had opened up and showed me, and I said, yeah, the problem with her is that she's religious.
Mm.
And then he's like, religious. He said, what do you mean by religious? And this is somebody very close to him, very personal to him. And
Okay.
I said, what I mean by that is that she's rigid. So when you bring her ideas about things that you want to do, if it's outside of the scope of a rigid person that might not want to move too quickly on things. I mean, you really want to be an author?
Mm.
Do authors make money? I mean,
Mm. Out of
uh,
here. You
so
out of
I
there.
told him I listen, I ain't never seen this person before, but she's very close to him. But my breakdown was the problem with her is that she's rigid. And that's it, that she's religious. And when I explained to him what I meant by religious, is that sort of like a mule, right? She's not apt to moving on, too much artistic, new, different, you know what I'm saying? Like my baby mama was like that.
Mm.
My baby mama was, if we need more money, get a second job. Rigid, sort of like it's other ways to skin this cat. You know what I'm saying? And so I will address the issue, but I'm gonna do it in a PG way. I will address the issue. You know what I'm saying? You might want me to work for the white man. I can't do
Mm.
that. But what I can do, darling, is rent out the basement of our house, of our home that we're not using, and let somebody that works for the white man bring in the capital that you want me, because I'm gonna solve the problem. I'm just not gonna solve it in a rigid way. I'm gonna
Hmm.
solve it in a PG way. I'm
There
gonna
you
still
go.
address the problem. I'm
Right.
still going to address the problem, but it's not so. And I told him and then he told me, yeah, that was a key reason for why we ended up splitting up.
Hmm. After all that.
After I explained what I meant by religious,
Right.
then he said that was the key reason that we split up, because of it. But it was just something I could just look in their eyes and give a rundown on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
indeed. Once
yeah,
again, we appreciate that high level wisdom being referred to in this discussion. And right before we get back to wrap up the topic at hand, I'm going to ask
yeah.
this quick question. Shout out to Joe Blast. How are you able to cut loose a woman you're really into, but she ain't acting right? He says, I'm not to that level yet. So this is an easy one. You can one and done this one.
Yeah, this one is basically first of all, your apprehension to let her go. You already said it to her, so she
Mm.
knows. Because women feel men, they don't just look at them.
Right.
And so, what she has to feel is your commitment to your own contentment and happiness. And if her presence is an impediment to that, right? Chick I was talking to, um, I cut her loose, and I didn't have to tell her why,
Mm.
because I had already forewarned her about some things that I wanted her to correct. And like women do, bless your heart, I love y'all. Um, she kind of pushed the envelope a little bit.
Hmm.
And then I let her know again. I said, listen, this is cool. I said, but I don't particularly like this, blah, 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 blah. And her response wasn't favorable to me. And so she wasn't disrespectful. Um, but when I got off the phone with her, I said to myself, where can we go from here?
Mhm.
And the answer was nowhere.
Mm.
So I immediately blocked her on TikTok, which is where I met her.
Interesting.
2 minutes later, she hit me up on IG and she said, "Did you block me?" So here's what I did, because a decision was made already. So I decided that for the next 2 or 3 days, I'm not going to even go into IG. I'm not going to even go into the app at all.
Mhm.
So I let about 3 days go by. She had sent me about 4 different messages. I didn't read any of them. I didn't read any of them because when it's time to let a woman go, and here you go, seeking closure,
Mm.
trying to get an understanding. When you seek closure on something that you should be tossing in the trash, you're only looking for a reason to stay.
Mm. Indeed.
So I wasn't looking for a reason to stay. I knew that that was it. So what I did was I didn't even entertain her comments or things after I blocked her, because I didn't even answer her if I blocked her. That's kind of obvious. So I don't need to go back and forth with you about that. A man is sure of his position. When you argue with her, maybe not so sure.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Um, and so after those 3 days went by, then I went into the IG app and I immediately went to her page or whatever and I blocked her there. I didn't read anything. I just went to her, click on her, block, boom. Why? Because I'd already made a decision.
Right.
So I don't need to see what she might say to try to lure me back in or anything. Like, I had already made a decision.
There you go.
And when you set boundaries for yourself, notice I said for yourself and not for her. You don't set boundaries for a female, you set them for yourself. Here's the question: where do you go from here? That's the question at some point that you have to ask yourself. I have
Mm.
told men who are clients of mine that it was time to drop the package and start over again clean, because you fucked up
Mhm.
for too long in this relationship. And now, where do we go from here? Well, if you want to salvage, right, your ego at this point, because you keep coming to me like, why she do this? Well, why she do that? And I'm saying, because you didn't let her go at the right
Mhm.
time, right? And so, and what the other thing is, women can smell lack.
Right.
They can smell when you have a poverty consciousness. You're
Right.
supposed to deal with a woman as if you have an abundance consciousness.
Right.
An abundance consciousness means she may be one of one, but I'm about to give this one a Chinese name. How soon Wong Gong, and send her on her way. Because it's not about, I don't care about women, but I can't love a woman if I don't love myself first. And
Right.
if her presence disturbs the bliss that I'm
Mhm.
used to living in, it's not going to work. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to go back and forth with you either. You see what I'm saying? And so sometimes your issues with a chick is because you held on too long, because you
Mhm.
had a poverty consciousness and not an abundance consciousness. You kept forgiving and forgiving and forgiving and forgiving, and now she don't even take you seriously.
Right.
She gonna keep pushing the envelope. If you're afraid of losing her, she knows it, because women feel men. They're emotional beings, they're energy. So they can feel your energy. So PIMP, player in Mac position, reminds you to always control your thoughts, your moods, and your feelings. Always be in control of them, right? Don't allow the topsy turviness of her challenges or tests or her emotions and all of that. That can't move you. I can be concerned, right? But in the face of boundary and principle, I have to stand on it,
Yes,
right?
indeed.
Stoicism is religiosity to me,
Mhm.
right? You have to move with the situation. You know what I'm saying? But still be firm.
Mhm.
My point is, at the point that you get to where you're afraid or to let her go, it's probably because you held on too long, right? And you need to accept when you've messed up and need to start over fresh.
Right.
Rebuild your ego, learn from the experience so that when you face it again, you handle it properly. Then, when you let her go, I'm not telling the man what to do, but
He's
I'm
already
just
done it.
suggesting when you let her go, then go back in your consciousness and meditation and create in your imagination the same scenarios that led to this where you at now. Except in your imagination, do them differently so that you get a different result. That
Yes,
that
indeed.
result might mean letting her go sooner. I was on the phone with an ex of mine one time, and I was sitting next to a player, and I was explaining to her, see, babe, when you do this, you know what I'm saying? It puts me in a certain position, you know what I'm saying? And it makes me feel a certain way, you know what I'm saying? And so it would just be easier for both of us if this, that, and the third. And so like the good times that we have, I want to maintain that. I don't really want to deal with in this. So when I got off the phone with her, he said, you took too long explaining that to her. Make it shorter.
That's it.
He said, you use too many words trying to, she already knows this shit. She's
Right.
doing it on purpose. So get to the point, right? And sometimes the problem that we have in a relationship is that we didn't love ourselves enough. So
Correct.
you think you don't want to let her go because you love her, or as one client said in one of his songs, the pussy won't let you go.
Mm.
No, you didn't let her. You didn't want to let her. You see what I'm saying? And it's a matter of self-love. right? The more that you love yourself, the more she's going to feel that. And also, right, she'll probably be more chivalrous
There we go.
with her femininity because your energy suggests that you actually meant what you said when you said it, right? Chivalry is something that is expected by the other person,
Mhm.
right? When you're chivalrous towards a woman, when a woman is chivalrous with her femininity towards you, it's something that is expected, but it is also deserved,
Yes.
right? I'm not going to be chivalrous towards a bitch in the sense of how I'm using it, right?
Mhm.
I'm not going to deal with a bitch. I was talking to the same client. He said, PG, he said, where your bitches at?
Mm.
I said, I want you to have the bitches. I said, because as long as you keep dealing with bitches, you're going to keep needing advice.
Listen, let me tell you something. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Known Unknown 666. Hollering at that. Shout out to you with the dub. He said, I delete them off quick. I sense games and I'm gone. I delete a number I just got 24 hours after I got it. Shout out to you. We appreciate that contribution to the T-Talk Tabernacle. Now, on the subject of how submission is feminine chivalry, we have to understand PG dropped so many jewels and so many gems. It's like, again, we don't do meticulous the sharing of notes prior to a
No.
conversation that we're having. But in one of the instances that PG shared with us, he mentioned point blank when his baby mama brought him an issue or a challenge, and her expectation was that he get a second job or someone get a second job, and PG just said outright, I'm not going to go work for the white man. What does that mean? Well, when we talk about social leverage points, and let's be honest, because we've been nothing but authentic and honest,
Mhm.
part of the social leverage points that are provided to women in the modern landscape. Anybody who has the opportunity to pick up this book called Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber. David Graeber is an anthropologist.
Mm.
And basically, over the course of the pages in this book, he details about how at a point in time when he was at dinner parties, he would run into people and they would ask him what he did for a living, and he would say anthropologist, and they would be so fascinated because he actually does work. Okay,
Yeah.
he actually
Yeah.
creates value, and he would ask them, okay, so what do you do? And they would be like, oh, I'm the vice president of acquisitions, or I'm a compliance officer, or I'm something. And the job details, once you peel back the layer of the title, was equivalent to a paper pusher. They move
Mm.
one file from the inbox over to the outbox. And then somebody else scheduled a meeting around how to properly move a file from the inbox to the outbox. And then they
Sure.
scheduled another meeting to follow up the first meeting on the policy surrounding inbox, outbox move. I'm literally going through how a lot of the corporate jobs work. So
Yeah.
basically, the corporate landscape as it stands, and this is not me condemning, this is just an observation. And like I said, this book is entitled Bullshit Jobs. If you want a detailed breakdown of how the corporate structures work, they're basically just moving funds. Um, he basically says a lot of these jobs that serves as social leverage points for a lot of women is so that they can hold a position in society, and they can make income from those positions in society.
Mhm.
Whether or not they're generating value is irrelevant. because the
Wow.
corporation is fully funded in order to sustain the social landscape.
Mm,
Isn't that interesting?
yes.
So this is basically, like I said, a social leverage point that's literally just given to women who have complied with the social order, meaning
Right.
they went to school, they got the degree, they made the connections, they applied for the position, they were screened and vetted so
Mm,
that they understand that they will comply with the policies, the rules, the regulations, and the language in those spaces. So
yes.
basically, they are confirming that they will become a cog in the wheel of the machine. And
Right.
so when PG just said out flat, "I'm not taking a white man's job,"
Mhm.
he just pulled the curtain back to reveal the man behind the curtain. Okay, so without going too far into that, I want to reference the final book for this particular conversation about how submission is feminine chivalry.
Mhm.
I reference this book a lot. This is called Mating in Captivity by
Okay.
Esther Perel. She
Okay.
is a psychotherapist who has worked with thousands and thousands of couples in many um, countries. She's done many TED Talks. She's done many presentations. And one of the wonderful gems that she presents in this particular book is that how, with the way in which women's empowerment has positioned women in modern societies,
Mhm.
when she first observed the social landscape and she saw the believe all women narrative, when she
Mhm.
saw the women first narrative, when she saw that corporate spaces weaponize the language that women use.
Mm.
Okay. PG, I know I'm not sure if you've ever worked in a corporate office or a corporate environment.
Not really.
The language of the policies, the human resource jargon, the way in which policies are implemented are all based on how women would do it. Okay, and
Wow.
this is very specific, so that it disempowers men in order to empower women. Now, besides David Graeber in his book Bullshit Jobs, Esther Perel details how that dynamic is at the core of a lot of conflict in modern relationships.
Wow.
Okay. And so when we talk about how submission is feminine chivalry,
Mhm.
just like how post-Victorian era, you know, late 1800, well, from the 1700s, late 1800s, into the early 1900s, men show deference to women because we are naturally more physically, mentally, and durably stronger, and in social scenarios more
Right.
power. We naturally have more leverage within the landscape.
Right.
So we would show deference to women in general, and the women who are under our care and keep in particular,
Mhm.
as a form of displaying a social code under the
Mhm.
banner of chivalry, to
Yeah.
make their lives easier, to make their ability to function more comfortable,
Yeah.
and to provide a living situation within society that's
Mhm.
conducive to cooperation.
Right.
Now that that landscape has been reorganized, and the power has been, the social power, okay, social power has been artificially removed from the men's position and given to women,
Mhm.
they have what I refer to as social leverage point. And so, since the leverage favors the modern woman, if a woman wants to exist in a balanced and a comfortable and a beneficial environment with the type of man that she desires to acquire an intimate exchange. Look, you see how we put that on the women now? If she
Mhm.
desires that,
Come
she
on.
will need to show feminine chivalry in the form of submission.
Yeah.
She must submit to his mission, submit to his leadership, show deference to his operation,
Mhm.
because ultimately women have to acknowledge that those social leverage points, those points of leverage within the society, were gained artificially. And if that environment were to be disrupted and or dismantled, they would be left out in the cold without shelter, without respite, without covering.
Right.
And so it behooves women who will listen to this message to start understanding that the game is not only about men or for men, it's about women and for women as well.
It is.
Because game is universal and it
Mhm.
works for balance. It works
Yes.
for justice.
Mhm.
It works for the benefit of everyone involved. I always say women love players because players will put everyone involved in the best position to win. And that's
Right.
really what the essence of game is all about.
That's
Any
true.
further words, PG, before we wrap this up?
Um, the etymology of the word career is combat.
Mm-hmm.
The etymology of the word career is chariot.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't use chariots in gardening. You
Mm-hmm.
don't use chariots in nursing a baby. You don't use chariots in catering to your husband. You use chariots in war or war-like games.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit that must be embodied, we talked about that earlier with good actors.
Right.
The spirit that must be embodied in a career is a spirit of war.
Right.
What does the white man say business is? Business is war. That's what he calls it. What do CEOs study? The
War
art of
strategy.
the art of war. You see what I'm saying? This is how they approach, the subject. And so it is an unnatural essence that a woman has to embody, which according to Master Yao is why a lot of women, develop tumors
Mm.
because they're taking on too much testosterone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Career is combat, which when you take on that spirit, then that makes sense. What we call gender
War.
war, because you're taking on an essence and trying to climb up
Corporate ladder.
the corporate ladder,
Mm-hmm.
in society. Um, the four archetypes of the feminine principle, according to Master Yao, none of them require a chariot.
Mm.
None of them require a combative or nature.
Mm-hmm.
Intuition is feminine, but it's intuitive with respect to everything inside of the nest that
Mm-hmm.
she's a part of, which also includes her man. The Proverbs 31 woman was the shit, as we say, in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
because everything that she did was to bring honor to her husband's last name and to be a continuation of his mission, purpose, and passion.
Mm-hmm.
People like to focus on the Proverbs 31 woman for her deeds, right? But they go right past the motive and the impetus behind those deeds,
Mm-hmm.
right? Was to bring honor to her husband and his name. And that last name that she took on, you know, the Bible talks about in that day, 7 women will take to one man.
Mm-hmm.
And it said that those women will have their own resources. But they finally came to the realization that without protection and covering, there is shame that is left for the woman that's uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible alludes to the fact that their choice of that man is based upon removing that shame. That this society tells you, right, is not natural. But we're in the age of Aquarius now.
Listen.
And the age of Aquarius is about knowing. The age of Pisces that just passed, that was about belief.
Right.
So the corporate woman, I'm a corporate woman, that's still coming from the age of Pisces. But look at the American dollar. Look at the American empire, the financial systems, the banks. All of these things are insolvent, right? The dollar is fake and fiat because it's not backed by gold. And a woman's, I love you, I do. But a woman's purpose is like fiat currency when it's not backed by the gold standard of a man's purpose, mission, and
Mm.
passion.
Mm.
It's just fiat. So it's usable within the society. But here's what the malevolence, some call the devil. It what the malevolence never shows a woman is the bitter end of the choices that she makes today.
Mm. Touch on
You
it.
know, yes. So fibroid tumors, big deal in the gynocracy. And Master Yao said that the more masculine that a woman becomes, the more she becomes a fibroid tumor factory.
Mm.
Like Tesla, they put out Teslas. A woman becomes a fibroid tumor factory because too much testosterone is poisonous to a woman's nature.
Mm-hmm.
But the malevolence, Zaddy ain't gonna tell you that.
Not even close.
He not gonna tell you that. He don't care about you. He solves health issues by not solving them. He solves them by covering them up with a medication that creates 2 other problems in the process that you're going to need medications for each of them. Before, I remember being at my father's and my mother and father's house, and my father pulled out this drawer, and all of that goddamn medicine that was in that fucking drawer that he was supposed to take daily. I'm like, God damn. And it was like he had a group of pills that he had to take each day.
Mm.
Put them is take them to, and I'm saying Zaddy cannot educate us because the word education comes from the Latin word educo, which
Mm.
means to develop from within. To truly be educated, one has to develop from within. And he don't have a within to
Listen.
develop you from. He just has without.
Listen.
So
Y'all don't know what just happened. Okay. Y'all don't really know what just happened. Okay. This vessel, okay, known as PG,
oh, okay.
just delivered this vessel for the Spirit of the Most High, just delivered so many gems, so many diamonds. First of all, let's do this.
Mm,
When he gave the comparison of a fiat to an asset,
right.
of a fiat to an underlying resource.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, y'all need to take a step back to appreciate what he just symbolized.
Mm,
If a woman's purpose is symbolized by the dollar, then it's simply a note,
yeah,
a treasury note.
that's all.
In a presentation that I did for the field general Rom Wills, we
Sure.
were discussing finances, the nature of money, and those dynamics.
Sure.
I had to define in my presentation, in my words, what money is.
Mm-hmm.
Not assets, but money,
Mm-hmm.
in particular fiat.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how I defined the dollar. A dollar is a unit of a promise to deliver order from chaos. A dollar is a unit of a promise to deliver order from chaos.
Yeah,
So a woman can only promise to deliver.
right.
A man is the deliverance of order from chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm gonna say it again because PG he set the alley oop. I gotta slam it home.
You
I
got
gotta
you
bring it
go
home.
ahead, man. Go ahead, Michael.
The man or the asset that
Mhm.
backs the fiat
Mm.
is the deliverance of the promise
Yes.
to pay. And we
Mm.
pay order from chaos. We deliver order from chaos.
Yes, we do.
That's why the scales have been tipped.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the surface of the social landscape has been artificially covered
That's right.
with paperwork
Yep. That's all it is.
because
That's
they
all it
know
is.
that at the end of the day and the beginning of the next, when push comes to shove,
Mm-hmm.
the real men will reclaim their true position of
Yep.
judges.
Yes.
And you know what judges do? They render verdict in
Yes.
order to resolve
Right.
disputes. A judge's role and responsibility is to bring about justice,
Right.
you see? And when
Which
we
is
talk about the destination,
mm,
now, of course, PG and his mastery alluded to that false promise of a destination
yes,
that
yes.
the corporate world sells. You
Mm-hmm.
see, we're bringing back the whole conversation. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to bring it to you.
Yes.
The false promise of the corporation put out to women
Yes. Yes.
is that they can deliver the destination.
Yes. Yes.
And what women are discovering,
Keep going. Keep
who
going.
have taken that path and have arrived in this space of a barren wasteland, in this space of loneliness, in this space of not having a family, in this space of not having
Yes.
necessarily that community that would have been built had she submitted to the mission of a man, that false promise of a destination that the corporate world held out for that woman is a check that cannot be cashed.
Can be cashed.
And so when we talk about a man being the destination and having the destination, we talk about a man having that thing that no government, no social landscape, no corporation, no politician can deliver. Because a man who has been developed into his superior position as a masculine master
Mm-hmm.
is the destination.
Exactly.
You see?
Yes. Yes.
And
Exactly.
and real quick, because BG just be dropping gems so eloquently and
Thank you.
fluently. He just be in flow state. When
Mhm.
he talked about how the other, the foreign institutions, the
Mhm.
foreign agendas cannot educate
No.
the native, cannot educate the natural, cannot
No.
educate the indigenous.
No.
We have to understand books like this. And I'm just showing it so that people have to look at this this image. Okay,
Mhm.
those who have their copies of it or those who are curious, go go to the pages between 20 and 30. That's how we learn. That's how we think. That's how our minds actually work.
Mhm.
And so as we wrap up this discussion, and PG, we always appreciate your presence,
Thank
um,
you.
especially when it's well rested. Just marinating over your thoughts a little bit more. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I appreciate
But
it.
we have to
Right.
understand that we are here to deliver this wisdom for an archive that
Yes.
people who respond to this call for discovery can go back and reference. People
Right.
who hear and respond to this call for wisdom can go back to and disseminate.
Mhm.
People who arrive in this space that we've created and we continue to supply with this thing we call game will always have the ability to come back and feed again and
Sure.
be satisfied and to
Mhm.
pass on this knowledge, this wisdom, this information, because we leave references. But I think
Yeah.
that's the most important thing that I want to impress upon those who are listening. Thank you for your likes. Thanks for your support. But the most important thing that I want to impress upon people who are within the sound of our voices
Yeah.
is that out of all of the things that we can relate, the things that we can teach, the wisdom that we can pass on is this
Mm.
as the most important. Once you achieve a point within yourself
Mm.
where you become the source of your bliss, where you become the source of your happiness,
Yes.
it doesn't matter what desires, what attractions, what distractions may come your way,
What shiny things?
shiny things, if they don't enhance your
No.
bliss, if they don't contribute to your happiness, if they don't enhance your value proposition, you've got to leave it behind.
Yep.
You've got
Yep.
to let go and let God.
That's true.
You've got to
Yeah.
release that image from your memory.
Yeah.
Take us home, PG.
My last thought is, when you know the time, you know what must be done. And the Bible talks about that. In everything, there's a season, there's a time. And because that our education is fake, our pursuits are pursuits of ideas that's designed to make us slaves, because our pursuit of money, right, is really a pursuit of debt, right? When you know the time, you know what must be done. We're on the verge of a collapse in this society, right? Which only means the death of the caterpillar so it can become a butterfly.
Yes, indeed.
And in that process, when I have extra income, right, in my business accounts, I dump it. I don't keep money in the bank because I don't trust the system like that. And what do I dump it for? That
There
right
you
there.
go.
That's
Asset.
20, that's 24 karat, 1 ounce investment gold. Right now, gold is about 5 racks for one of these, 5,000. And in addition to that, I invest in this, right? That's a 5 ounce maple leaf that just got minted this year, 2026,
Mm-hmm.
5 ounce maple leaf. I invest in silver too, because I see silver and gold as God's money, right? And what better money for a pimp God than God's money, right? Because I'm preparing, right? I took my I was with a female one time, and I took this gold coin. It wasn't this one, it was another one. It was a maple leaf, 1 ounce. And I put it in her hand. So she held it in her hand. And she tried to putt shot me with it.
Hmm.
She said, it feels fake. And I said, darling, I said, you just never held real gold before. What she didn't know was that I wasn't bragging, I was sharing,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is energy.
Absolutely.
You see something metal and material, but if you saw it, right, on an atomic level, you would see motion.
Correct.
This is energy, right? How connected are you to? Right? I told a female friend of mine, I said, another female friend of mine, I said, you know, they call silver the poor man's gold. You know, I said, not calling you poor. I said, but you want to start stacking some silver because there's a lot of things that's happening in the economy right now. You want to be one up on it. So she called me the day that she was going to buy her first coin. I
Mm.
told her, call me when you go. She called me. And on her way to the coin shop, I said, to invest and put my money where my mouth is, I'm going to buy you one.
Mm.
So instead of walking out with one, she walked out with two. I matched what she did in her first, time buying it. She
Mm-hmm.
bought um, a buffalo round, 1 ounce, pure, right? Not sterling silver, pure. And I sent her a little bit extra for a Canadian maple leaf. Now, this is a 5 ounce, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
1 ounce. And so she walked out with two coins instead of one, because I'm going to I believe in what I'm saying. So I'm gonna show that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what comes with um being with a man who knows what time it is. Because when you know the
Absolutely.
time, you know what must be done. You
Yes,
know?
indeed. And
Yeah.
strategy is soon to follow. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your energy and your attention. Absolutely like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, PG. Once again, the lessons that you relate are timeless, and we hope that everyone within the sound of our voices take heed, receive it, and be filled with it positively, so that they have
Positive.
a way forward, so that they can see a way through the storm, and
That's
to
right.
understand that there is life beyond that which is to come. Once again, we thank you all for participating. And as
Mhm.
always, this is your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.
Peace.